It's only been 2 months since I reviewed Woolgatherer's Pond, a glistening and youthful stare into the Dreamcatcher, a short but sincere folky ambient album that evoked some rather personal memories in me so much that I had to draw it out on paper. Shye's approach to creating soundscapes seems a lot more driven by concept than it is driven by a specific compositional aspect, which can make them tricky to appreciate for those who are just waiting for things to happen. But things that happen don't always happen. I personally don't wander through scrapyards myself, not on Tuesdays anyways, but if you ever think about their purpose, to throw junk that we don't want into, to abandon and leave behind, it becomes a rather unsettling place to rummage through. You ever just look at a munted car and think about the places that thing might have been? The idea of noting these things on a scrapbook brings up yet another theme of memory that runs throughout Shye's music, only this time her appreciation of these memories is less defined by a fondness and more like a long forgotten fragment that you'd much rather not touch again. The electroacoustic buzzing on the opening track Scrapyard sounds like a dangerously powerful magnet in action, or a magical aura that surrounds the scrapyard like one of those shiny collectibles in a Rareware game. It allures you back to it, but underneath that curiosity is a very stomach-churning dissonance, as if pressing onwards is going to be slightly regretful. A Like to Ruin is the next track with another dissonant melody, but this time with what sounds like the tapping of a pan drum, as distant organ notes haunt the background. It is once again that sense of curiosity that draws a narrator back to their past, but getting the shivery feeling that they're about to tap into memories they don't exactly want to confront again. You know that feeling when you're lying in bed, eyes shut, and then suddenly your most embarrassing memories decide to slip through the crack in the door again and tease you for the rest of the night? That's this feeling here. And once again, Shye's music proves to be powered by the power of the loosened mind, the imagination. Not only does Makebelieve sound like a combination between the sound of your finger around the rim of a wine glass, as well as the sound that bolts make when they drag along the ground in Ratchet and Clank. It is probably one of 2 moments of true tranquility that you'll find on this album, the second just being the next track, which is simply the sound of a trickling stream. I feel as if this is where the journey stops in its tracks and has no clue where to go, meanders a little bit in favour of doing a few side quests. Pitter Patter seems to do a lot more of what Makebelieve had already done. Meanwhile, Bottlenecks is a moment of subdue on the record that feels like 6 minutes better suited for something else. It sounds more like passive sitting amongst the scrapyard wreckage and staring into nothing, as opposed to evoking this feeling of apprehensive exploration and eventually finding something that either disturbs you or makes you glad that you rummaged back through those laminated pages of the photo diary. It's this that makes the genuinely very beautiful, optimistic, and conclusive scrapbook a little less impactful as a closer in the context of everything else, which is a shame given that I can hear what sounds like crayons or a marker that scrapes along paper, which I thought was a very creative touch given the concept. But the album makes this thematic leap from what is virtually silence to this glistening moment of closure. What seemed like a journey with no discernible progression suddenly acts as if it had one to begin with. As I said, Shye's music is driven by concept and not composition, and is so ambiguous that one could paint their ideas over it, but I still feel as if there's a lot more to discover within that scrapyard that was unfortunately glossed over. But I suppose at the end of the day you'll just want to get out of there. It is a scrapyard after all. It's not the most comfy place to daydream in, unless you get a nice car seat angled around somewhere. I'd still award this a very appreciative 7 out of 10. I still think it's a great and evocative album for what it dares to explore, even if very, very gently. But I doubt we'll be getting scathing industrial bangers anytime soon, at least not until Shye works up an album based on the Incinerator.